Welcome to the Three Path Profits podcast, where we'll talk about business, finance, social media, and everything in between on our paths to profit. Three different people, three different side hustles, one common goal: profit. My name is Kyle,
My name is Lexi.
My name is Amanda.
and we are your hosts. To set the proper expectations for today's episode, our format will be as follows. First, we'll hear from Lexi, who will go over everything related to her Etsy shop. Then we'll hear from myself with the financial updates. And then we'll hear from Amanda, who will go over all things social media. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the last 7 days for stats wise, I had 12 views and 12 visits and 0 orders. The last 30 days, I had 49 views and 37 visits and 0 orders. Not upset with those numbers. This was again with posting nothing on my social media accounts and or adding anything to my site. So I'm happy it's still getting traction, just trying to see, I guess, what can really bring in that next sale. So my money tracking, I ended up purchasing some things. So everything kind of fluctuated a bit. So it's not the same as it usually was. So what I spent on supplies, it's $587.05. My sales totaled out to $104.40. Shipping costs were $15.99. Etsy fees was $15.34, which also this went up another 20 cents because, again, one of my listings renewed. So that went up another 20 cents. So my total gross profit through Etsy sales was $73.07, and I'm in the red, $513.98.
So question real quick.
What's up?
You said your listing renewed. So it's not like everyone renews on a certain date. It goes by the day you originally posted it.
Correct. Yeah, so every listing is different. It just depends on when I posted it. And since I kind of post them randomly and whenever, they could be absolute whenever. Which honestly, I kind of hate because then it's just like a random 20 cents here and there. I wish it was all just at once, but at the same time, like I'd rather it be genuinely when I did put it up rather than them just saying.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that way. I thought
Yeah.
they would have wanted it to be
Yeah.
just, if you want it up there during this month, it's 20 cents.
Yeah.
You know?
Like on the first of every month is 20 cents.
Yeah.
Regardless
Yeah.
if you posted the day before or not.
That's interesting.
So just some general updates. I did update the Yeti listing that we were talking about last week on my Etsy listing. So now I am showing the different sizes is one of my pictures right after like the generic year logo here. And then I also I retook the picture of the Yeti that I have and I made the blank white background. I didn't take off one of them only because it had just the name on it rather than our logo, so I wanted both of them to be different, and I obviously added on our logo to my water bottle, so it's kind of different. I'm going to try to share my screen to show you those updates.
It looks so good. I'm looking at it right now.
Thank you. Just so you can like see, because obviously last week I know we kind of bless you. We went over like I showed that listing, so I want to be able to show it again. Now that it's updated. Okay, let's see. Okay, can you see?
Yep.
Okay. So again, same thing here, same thing with the video, but now I have this so you're able to see
Great.
all the different sizes, and it kind of highlights some different colors as well that you can get. And then this was the picture that I updated with the white background. I know it's kind of like very wrinkled, but I wasn't going to unwrinkle that shit for the picture. But again, you get it like it's the white background, and this is the one that I'm keeping, even though it isn't just a plain background, just because it only has the name there. And obviously I can't do that now that this is our logo on there. But yeah, other than that, everything stayed the same. I haven't done anything more with the Yetis or making anything. but I did have someone give me their personal cup to put something on there. So I didn't actually have to end up buying the cup. They're just giving me one that they already had. And it's actually a Stanley. So we're going to see how it works on Stanleys. So I'm kind of like glad that honestly it was a Stanley so I could see like how it works on different products. So kind of a to do for myself that I still want to get done is the Yetis for myself on using my logo and just trying things out to make for myself. I'm not going to be getting the actual Yetis. It's going to be like an off Yeti brand again to try to see what it is like on one that isn't actually Yeti and also so not spending an absurd amount. So I was asked to make another onesie. So I used that opportunity just to kind of make another video, added that to my TikTok and Instagram. I've decided that at this point, I'm just going to end up making that another listing on my shop because I've
Definitely.
already made 3 of them now. So I have ample amount of photos to be able to add. So I definitely think at this point, it's time. I've made videos with them. So it's easy enough now that I just kind of go for it. And again, I think I mentioned this a while back, but so many people I
I was
know.
listening. It's this week's episode. I was listening to this week's episode that's coming out, and it's you talking about how many people are just having babies.
Yes.
I was going to bring it up today, actually, and say, like, you should have one of those listings on there and promote some baby stuff because
Yep.
that's not going anywhere for the next 10 years. That's
Yeah.
everybody we know.
Your video was really cute too, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, I really liked making this onesie. It was very like a fun product to make just with like the little like mini foam fingers and the football and using different products and whatnot. And I actually ended up using different types of iron-on vinyl that was not the Cricut brand. And honestly, it worked just the same. I had no like cons about it. It worked just the same to me as the regular Cricut stuff. So,
That's
and it
good.
was like, I think pretty much half the price. So,
Nice.
just my like kind of things I want to get done. I'm listening back to the episodes I was making the reels for. We talked about me potentially reaching out to Yeti, and I, even though like technically I don't have like a big order for like Yetis right now, I still want to reach out to them and just say like I have this on my site. I'd love to be able to like partner with you, and I can even just like make some of them for myself instead of having to get like the off-brand Yetis or whatever, and be able to use those and promote those as well. And potentially even maybe like do a giveaway with those because it's getting both my name and Yeti's name out, and I'm sure they wouldn't be opposed to that. So again, make the new listing for the onesie, work on the projects for myself with the cups, wise Yetis or not. And then I have another project that I technically already did since we're recording a day late, but I'm not going to put it on until next week. But that was a really fun project to make. I think making the onesie and what I did for myself kind of, I feel like I was in a funk. Like, I don't know if I was just like starting to get like, not like burnt out, but like I keep like making things and I'm not like enjoying it as much. And I think like making the onesie and like what I made for myself, it like kind of brought the fun back into it. So I felt like that was fun to just actually be like, okay, I'm enjoying this again. It's not like a chore.
I can relate to that.
So goals and shout outs, make a sale that isn't a friend or family member, make a profit after expenses, be in the green, and it's at Anything Cricut Co. on all socials and my Etsy shop.
Go give her a follow.
For sure. I have one question. The $60 for any amount of customizing, or is it just the logo area that you've depicted in the picture? Like what's the customization look like there?
No, it could pretty much be any. I mean, as long as it's not like genuinely the entire cup that I'm doing like a crazy
Any within reason.
Yeah. It's not going to be, as long as again it's not the entire cup front to back. But I mean, you could get something this small, or you could get something this small or this big, and it's going to be the same at that point, because I'm really not using that much different of vinyl
Right.
and or the citrus strip product that I would be using. So it's not really going to make a difference at that point.
Makes sense. That's all I got.
I don't have anything else either.
Okay, I'll jump in. All right, let me get to share screen here. We have a net asset value of $1,233. So let me get to that. Just keep going. All right. Net asset value of $1,233.60. We are still in the green at 4.99%. That did go down since last week. Market's been a little volatile, a lot to do with the Middle East and just the election coming up. Otherwise, not much has changed. I did not buy anything new. I did not research anything new. The portfolio just went another week around the sun, and this is what happened. So not much. It pretty much just went sideways. You'll see that everything besides Blackstone is still in the exact same order. Blackstone's the only one that moved down. And I did buy some of Blackstone in the prior week. So not this past week, but the prior week. So that additional allocation of Blackstone was applied there, which you'll see here. Blackstone.
So you still had the 25 automatically
Correct.
uploaded
Correct.
to the account. It's just not actually invested, right?
Correct. And it technically was 2, because remember, I'm doing it every week on the specific day. So the 1st, the 8th, and so on and so forth. So it actually, at the end of the month, is always going to have 2 very close to each other, where I'm probably going to have 2 in the first episode that we record in the new month. There's always going to be a jump of $50 because there was one on the 27th and then the 1st. But otherwise, I just highlighted this in bold here. These are the dividends that I've been paid from my positions in the specific companies. So like you'll see the most is Blackstone at 369. That's before they're about to pay their new dividend, which is going to be significant. So they are the biggest earner by far. Excuse me. You'll see here the dividend yield. It's pretty much a painted picture of this because that's what that's based off of. But because it's such a high yield, that's why it's paying so much more than all the other ones and contributing to our dividends more than all the other ones. Cool. Well, I'm so happy with how the portfolio is performing due to it was a pretty choppy week and it was very volatile. And my portfolio really hung in there. Didn't go up, didn't go down. I've said that before, is that I want it to be not as reliant on the market, where I am building a portfolio that highlights this column here based off of dividends. That's what we're trying to achieve. It's not all about this over here. It is nice when you see the green, obviously, but it's nice that I'm less correlated with just the S&P 500 so that I know that I'm sticking to what I was trying to achieve. So that's an insight that I got from this past week. Like I mentioned, did not review any new companies. I did take a look at a few, just didn't get into any of them very deeply. No earnings reports to discuss. First earnings report is in 2 weeks. Bank of America reports on October 15th. So that'll be nice to start seeing some results and comparing those to the projections that we saw at the end of last quarter comparing to this quarter. That'll be really cool to go through that exercise, already having gone over one and then comparing the two. So that'll be nice to start those up again. And then from a macro and current events standpoint, economy didn't have much, just pretty choppy week. It's choppy because of the political scenario and geopolitics that's going on. The Waltz and Vance debate was this past week, and the tensions in the Middle East are running extremely high. Israel is at war with Gaza and is at war with Hezbollah at the north. And Iran just launched 200 ballistic missiles at Israel on Tuesday night, which was crazy. I stayed up pretty late watching the news on it because it was pretty crazy. It's always scary because we're sending troops over there too. Our stock market obviously opens an eye and makes sure that they're taking a look at what's going on as well. But Iran is Iran's a powerful country. Israel's a powerful country. They both have powerful allies. We're an ally of Israel. If they get into an all-out war, we are obviously going to step in, and that's always scary for us as citizens. But more focusing on just the impact to the stock market is oil prices shot up, gold prices shot up, all the things that you think of as like safe haven investments that aren't relying on a stock market to do well, like gold is the telltale of that. Those all outperformed while the rest of assets kind of went all over the place. So that's really all I have for politics. And then just a life update. The holiday season's coming up. We got Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas back to back. Best time of the year. Always exciting time of the year for the stock market as well, because companies do really well around the holidays because people are buying a lot of shit at the holidays. So Q4 is always nice to see the results, but it can be a tricky quarter because the expectations are so high that if they don't meet the lofty expectations, it can be a pretty sizable downturn after posting a bad earnings report. So we'll have to see who does well and who doesn't in the portfolio coming up for this earnings season. But to review and conclude,
Wait.
goals are the
Before you do that, because I want to tie into the holiday stuff real quick.
sure.
I was listening to PBD's podcast again the other day. I love PBD. And they were talking, which I don't watch a lot of actual news. A lot of the news that I get is from podcasts that I listen to.
Yep.
But they were talking about a strike that's happening and people really concerned about like even Christmas gifts getting to their house on time already. And it seems like a massive thing. Can you touch on that at all? Do you know anything about that?
For sure, yeah. The labor union on the East Coast for all of the ports up and down the East Coast, they went on strike and they handle, this isn't a direct quote, but roughly 70% of all of our import exports. So that's obviously crippling our economy currently. They want higher pay. They're asking for something around 40 to 60% higher pay.
It was up to 70% higher within the next 5 years or something ridiculous is what they were
saying. That's they.
Oh my God.
Yep. So that has been wreaking havoc, but it hasn't really sunk in yet because it just started. So those backlogs and all the impacts aren't really being quantified yet. I see the impacts of that really happening over the next 3 weeks when people really start to make those purchases for those Christmas gifts, for all the holiday season stuff, and they might be paying a higher price because you might have to ship it all the way over to the West Coast just to get it diverted back by train to where you need to go on the East Coast because of these strikes. Mm-hmm. So it's going to impact pricing. It's going to impact timing of getting your gifts and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how long it plays out because these people who are on strike, they need money for holidays. The company wants to make money during the holidays. It's always interesting how strikes play out because it really is like head to head and who's going to hold out the longest. So we'll see what transpires. I'll have another update next week.
Oh, we could see people going back to stores instead of ordering everything online.
I mean, maybe from stores though, they have to get it from somewhere. Like they were they on the podcast, They were talking about like, what if it gets to a point where there's literally not food on the shelves because a lot of food is imported too.
Right. And there is a lot of talk about this reigniting the inflation flame
Mm-hmm.
because of that. I mean, if you're having to take all these extra measures just to get food to the stores when food was already getting expensive and getting price increases, obviously you can put two and two together of how that can get out of control.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a good thing. I just hope it gets resolved quickly because it is a multiplier effect where like every day that they are on strike and those ports are closed, it just backs up and backs up and backs up and builds on the compound interest. So they're the numbers that they were putting out of the economic loss every day that we experience because these are closed is an ungodly number. I can't remember, but I think it was like $500 billion or something. And that could be completely off the mark, but it's so high just because we aren't a really a manufacturing country, but we still rely on those ports to get imports, and still the exports that we do is pivotal to how our economy is going to function. Anything else on that?
No, I would like for you to have an update next week if there's any updates on it.
Sure. I'll throw it on my to-dos. All right. So to review and conclude, our goals are the same right now, just to make $100 in aggregate dividends and get the portfolio to $10,000 of net asset value. Right now we are at $18 on the dividends, and we are at $1,233 on the net asset value. So we're making our way. To-dos, research one new company this week to review and buy one new stock with the weekly deposit and the cash that we have built up from the two past deposits, and then provide an update on the port strike and how that all goes. I didn't get either of your stances before I do finally conclude here. Waltz Vance debate. Did you guys watch it? What were your thoughts?
I didn't watch, so go ahead, Lex. Kyle, you already know my thoughts, I guess, because we kind of talked about it on the phone. I didn't watch it. I only know what I've heard through people and what I've seen on social media.
Yeah, I didn't watch the full thing through. I watched snippets here and there. And I mean, from what I saw, it was just comical.
It's interesting, Amanda, that dynamic. We talked about it, and I didn't know if you had gone back and watched it or just watched more of it or saw more clips or anything. But it's interesting that dynamic of the majority of people who are consuming that debate are seeing it in a short form media like Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, which is not representative of what was displayed and what actually happened whatsoever. So what you guys are interpreting or perceiving as how the debate went and the narrative that is being pushed on how it went is not actually what happened. If you sat there, watched it through and through, even rewinded it as many times as I did. But it's just interesting to see that dynamic and how you can really see how these technologies impact people, not necessarily always for good, because it's definitely misleading, you could say, where the post isn't doing anything wrong by just posting that piece. They're only posting a 60-second piece, but without the context of the 60 seconds before it or even 5 minutes before it, it's hard to really put into context where that fits in the overall feeling of how things went. So it's just interesting. I wanted to highlight that. Amanda and I talked about that on the phone the other night because most everyone we know didn't sit down and watch the debate from start to finish. Everybody saw some things on X, saw some things on Instagram. They might have turned it on in the background or watched it for a little bit and then changed over to something else. But it's interesting to see how we all really consume our news and our content, even in terms of a presidential campaign, from these sites like social media.
Definitely.
Which is honestly like kind of terrifying.
Super terrifying.
I mean, like, again, it's you go on to CNN, you're going to get one view. You go on to Fox, you're going to get one view. Like, you go on to each different platform. I mean, even the regular news platforms, even if you're not finding it on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you're finding it, everyone's still so biased on whatever their viewpoints as a news corporation in general. So, I mean, even that, technically, you're still not even getting correct information 90% of the time, because it's all just what they want to show you and let you hear.
No. And I think, like, just to expand upon that further, it's not even necessarily that it's the wrong information or that it's not correct. It's just over embellished, or it's
spun the way they want to spin it.
Fun. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
That's I think the real issue, is because you can ask them on a lie detector, did you lie about this? And they can say no.
Yeah.
I mean, they told you the truth. They said nothing that was a lie. And that's where it's the gray area of politics is something that disgusts most, but it is intriguing to say the least.
Yeah.
That's all I got. You guys got anything for me?
Not anything additional.
No.
All right, that means it's me. Let me get my screen shared here. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
Pretty crazy.
Are you ready for this?
Are you ready? All right, can you see my screen?
Woo!
All right, so for Cooking Depot, I posted my typical 7 videos. And over those 7 videos, well, I guess not just those 7, but for the past 7 days, I had 1.5 million views, 86,000 likes, and 12.8 thousand new followers. So now I'm at 38.6 thousand followers.
Fuck.
Yeah. Like, insane week. Just to think about how long did I want to get to 10,000, and in 7 days I had more than that.
Yeah.
I'll just jump in now then, because this touches on what we talked about the other night. It's an exponential nature. That's kind of the ethos of why we started this podcast. I feel like is like the idea of compound interest, of getting a side hustle and getting extra income so that we can get ahead.
Yeah.
Is once that takes off, it is not a linear regression. It continually expands upon itself, where we're seeing it week to week. 12,000 in 1 week is well done.
Yeah, pretty crazy week. And on Instagram, I had 11,316 accounts reached, 211 likes, 47 new followers, so up to 240 followers on Instagram. On YouTube, 18,925 views, 401 likes, 37 new subscribers, so at 303. So last week we talked a little bit about how that was like a big jump on Instagram, and an even bigger jump this week. So if you look at all of my weeks throughout Instagram, last week that 22 was a huge jump compared to any other week that I've had. And then to go from 22 to 47 was an even bigger jump, huge jump for 7 days. And then on Mern, I didn't post any videos. I mean, Mern's my fun account, so like I'm never gonna be hard on myself or get down about not posting, but I really don't know why I haven't, because I have the content, like I said last week, for 2 videos ready to go. I just haven't done it. But still, without posting any videos, I had 169 views on TikTok, 4 new likes, 0 new followers, 70 followers in total. And then on Instagram, 4 accounts reached, 0 likes, 0 new followers, and 23 followers still. And then I still have this blank because I still am slacking and haven't set up my LLC and all that fun stuff. But I can go back and backdate it, because on TikTok, one of the things that I've talked about in past episodes, it's really great because you can set customized dates. So like once I actually get everything set up, I can go back and set, okay, give me the stats for the 25th through the 10th, and I'll be able to fill all this stuff out. So not worried about it. I just need to get my shit together so that I can get all that stuff filled out. Anything else stats wise before I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, what I'll say is just on that, the dollar signs, get that shit ready because that's happening exponentially as well. And that dollar number could be pretty high. And
Yeah,
do you have a response to that?
I do. It's just I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because it's not necessary.
Hold on, leave this up. I had another comment.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
So last week you had 25,700-ish followers, right? That additional 12.8 thousand in 1 week is a 50% increase week over week. That is an insane growth rate.
Yeah.
If that continues, our 100,000 goal, we're going to be swimming in that in 2 weeks here. Not even. So I'm very comfortable in my bet of November 1st. I think we're there. Thank you for pulling this up.
Yeah.
That's a 50% week over week, 2 weeks in a row right there,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So that's an exponential growth rate right there.
It's since I hit 10,000 followers, it's been insane. Yeah. I guess
that other comment I made,
week,
that dollar number could be pretty high.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say though, before I need to stop sharing my screen so I can go back to our doc so I can see like my little notes, because what I wanted to say was my one video that I posted, not this week, but last week, my meal prep video, not this Monday, but the previous Monday that I posted before our last episode, has now been my second video to hit 1 million views. One there itself is a really cool stat. Now I have 2 videos that are over 1 million. And then 2, it passed my bread dipping oil. It has, whenever I made this, 1.3 million, and I think it's 1.4 now since we're recording a day late, which is absolutely insane. In not even 2 weeks, and essentially a week and 3 days, week and a half, I guess. 1.5 million views. And so that's one of the videos. It's 60 seconds or longer. So that's one of the one that's qualified to make money. So like let's even say that half of those views are qualified views. That's like $750 off of one video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was telling you the other night.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So other highlight wise, just to mention with the videos that I posted this week, overall, my views have been I'm really happy with them. My videos that I posted this week, I had 2 that were like 2,000-ish or less. And then I had one that was 10.4 thousand, 11.5 thousand, 34.4 thousand, 12.2 thousand, and just shy of 10,000. So overall, compared to where I started when I was like so excited to hit a couple hundred, those are incredible stats. Consistently for an entire week to have like 10,000 or more views on a video, extremely happy with that.
For sure.
But I really don't have a ton else to add besides my stats. When Lexi was talking earlier about being in a funk, I feel like I used the word slump instead of funk, but I feel like I've been in the same thing. And I really think it's because I'm like so ready to quit my job, and I can't, because I'm still working full time, I can't devote the time that I want to Cooking Depot. Like the stuff that I really want to make, like one of the things I thought about recently is I want to make homemade pierogies, like stuff like that it just like takes time to make them. When I come home from work and I work out, I want something that I can make in 20, 30 minutes, an hour, absolute tops. And when I make something homemade like that, it's going to take me a while, especially when I film it. It takes me probably twice as long as it would naturally take me to cook it because I'm filming it. And especially because of the way I film it, doing the ASMR style, because I can't have multiple things going at the same time, because like I can't have something boiling or cooking on the stove that's making noise if I want to film something else kind of thing. So it takes me significantly longer to cook things when I'm filming. And I just don't have that energy to do it on a weeknight when I'm also working. And a lot of the times on the weekends, I'm traveling. So I just feel like last week when I was blaming it on watching SEAL Team a lot, which I'm addicted to SEAL Team, but I think it's much more than that. I just really, really, really would like to get to a point where I can do this full time and devote the time that I truly want to this, because I love it. It's not like I'm dreading doing it. I just don't have the time that I want to devote to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I have two comments to add.
Yeah.
One, I don't think people realize that it is a full-time job to
Yeah.
create the type of content that you create,
Yeah.
especially with the amount of care and passion you put into like each video, and the fact that you won't post certain videos and you sit and spend time thinking about whether to post a video or not, and you already have the success that you do. I think that really says to just your integrity of how you want to produce content, how you want to create content. So yeah, it's gonna get you a little into the slump when you're doing that every day, all day, even if you do love it. And the second comment is, we've been doing this for like 9 months now, or 6 to 9 months ish. And this is a side hustle. We all have full time jobs. We all have social lives. We all have other things going on. So I think it's great that we all are self acknowledging and giving ourselves some grace here and saying, like, hey, this all took a back seat this week. And guess what? Like, that's life, you know? And I think it's interesting how it all kind of happened for us at the same time. Like, I really didn't have a lot of time last week. I didn't really check out any socks. You guys have both all been kind of in a funk at the same time. It's just, it's interesting how that lined up. And I'm glad that we brought it up and that we're giving ourselves some grace there. So
I like that point that we all kind of were feeling the same. Because even talking about recording earlier, Kyle in our group message was like, I'm going to be like 5 minutes. I don't really have a lot. And I'm like, same. I really don't have a lot either.
And honestly, like, I think it's okay to like feel down and like in the funk or in the slump. Like, sometimes like that is just life. Like, everyone goes on like that repeat cycle of like doing the same things, like having this, like, you feel like you're like living the same day over and over again sometimes, and you're just like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And like, it's so okay to admit like feeling that way, especially whenever this is on top of all of the other things in our lives. And really, we are supposed to be doing this for fun, and it's something that we're supposed to be enjoying and also just like doing together. So I'm trying to like really look at it as like, this is me getting to hang out with you guys weekly.
That was the comment I just wrote down. We're doing it to catch up with each other as much as anything. And that's where we all said we didn't have much to go over tonight. And it's still a 40-minute conversation. It's still, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. I love it. I just had like, we're all in this together start playing in my head.
All in this together.
And like the dance going.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Yeah, but besides that, I just had one other general update and then some like funny comment section stuff. So my other general update is I tagged Broma Bakery. If you guys don't know who that is, you should check out her page. She makes phenomenal desserts, and she has a cookbook coming out on the 8th that I pre-ordered like, I don't know, at least 2 months ago. I pre-ordered it so long ago. And so I made my like favorite recipe of hers of all times. It's ridiculously easy and stupidly delicious. It's chocolate chip blondies. They're so good. And so I made that and I posted it the other day and I tagged her on all platforms, and she liked it and commented on TikTok. She commented in all caps and she was like, these look perfect or something like that. It was like something like that. And then she also liked it on Instagram, which I thought was so cool. which I've had some brands and stuff like my posts and comment, but I haven't had another content creator comment something. So that was pretty cool. And then just some comment section stuff, which I'm going to start to incorporate this more now that I have much more engagement happening on my posts. The meal prep video that has almost 1.5 million views had some funny comments and also trends where it was like a lot of that same kind of comment. So the meal prep video, it was also funny that that's the one that took off because it took me the least amount of time. It was the weekend that I was in Pittsburgh that weekend. And so I meal prepped after work on Monday, and it took me like 30 minutes to an hour to meal prep in total. I just rolled up some deli meat and put some sliced cheese in containers for lunch and made hard-boiled eggs to make it ready to go egg salad for breakfast. Ridiculously easy. And so from that, a lot of people were commenting about processed meat, which I love that people are actually concerned about this, because that is another thing that I'm passionate about, looking at ingredients and things, eating stuff that's healthier for you, more natural, not has stuff that you can't pronounce kind of thing in it. But it was just funny to me that that's what they chose to complain about, when the whole point of the video, I said in the caption, is sometimes like life happens and you don't have time to make something crazy for meal prep, and like this is what you get. And I even used the healthiest version of deli meat that I could find. Not just your general, it was like a Natural Choice brand where I tried, and people are still like, this is processed meat, I'm not eating it. I'm like, I hear you. I love that you're saying this, but you know, sometimes you don't have time to make something that's actually healthy for you. So the other funny thing that a lot of people were commenting on is the amount of eggs that I eat, and how they know that my farts are just absolutely awful, and that they couldn't eat this next to their boss because they'd be like farting up a storm. Oh my God, it was so funny. And I don't know if my body is just used to the amount of eggs that I eat, but it seriously doesn't happen to me. And it's just hilarious the amount of people that like, nope, not convinced. They're like 100%.
I'm one of those people. I eat a lot of eggs.
I love eggs. And does it make you fart?
Oh yeah.
I don't.
I eat eggs
What do
too.
you think?
Eggs don't make me fart.
They don't.
You know what I can do.
Well, you fart all the time, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I don't really fart like...
I eat eggs every day.
I eat eggs every day too, yeah.
Yeah, but
so
like
I don't know if my body's just used to it, but oh my God, the comments were so funny. So funny.
I feel like it probably depends on how often you fart out, like, just in general.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you add on how many eggs you eat.
Yeah. Or some of them were like, I couldn't even open this container next to my boss because hard-boiled eggs typically do smell bad.
Yeah.
And again, maybe I'm just immune to that too, because I swear they don't. I don't know.
Definitely do.
They do sometimes. They do for sure, but I don't know. And then the other comment that I thought was hilarious too is there was a few comments that people were talking shit for, you know, whenever I like show a product that I'm using and I tap on the lid of it with my fingernails. People were like, no, this was a great video until the tapping and then I'm done.
Yes, some people can't handle the ASMR.
So funny. And then one that was maybe my favorite of all is when people comment just like, I don't want to say stupidest things, but the things that are just like
stupid.
Yeah. So people will comment things that are like, can I substitute this for this? Like asking my permission to do it. And people comment back just roasting them. They're like, the one person commented, can I substitute something for a different kind of deli meat? It was like they didn't want the salami and they wanted to substitute it for something else or something like that. Yes, obviously you can do whatever the heck you want. You know what I mean? And people, one person just comments back, no. And the other one comments back, you can, but the police are going to be knocking on your door or something like that. Like, it's so funny. The people that comment back, oh my goodness. So funny. Comment section, when videos have a lot of comments, are hilarious. I love it. Love it.
Honestly, like 9 times out of 10, like when I'm done watching a video, I go check out the comments section just because I think half the time I get more enjoyment out of the comments section on people's videos than I do the actual video.
Yeah, it's so funny. Go, if you haven't gone to look at that one, go look at all the comments, like the farting ones. Oh, it's so funny. And then the last thing, comment section wise, I like when I comment on someone's video when they like it or comment back to me. And I am just curious at which points, like when you have a certain number of followers, when does it kind of feel like that when I comment back to someone? They're like, oh my God, they liked and commented back on mine kind of thing.
I bet you already does for a lot of people.
I bet you it does. Yeah. But I'll never know that, it's just a cool thought to think about. So that's all I got comment section wise. To-do list, my low funk, whatever you want to call it, that I've been in. I have not filmed any more of my Christmas, Thanksgiving stuff. So I'm still at 7 completed. So this week I should have had 18 completed. So I'm really starting to get behind on those. Kyle, you're going to be eating a lot of food when you come down.
Good.
And my goals, the same as my new ones that I made as of last week, make $1,000 in the Creator Rewards program on TikTok. And then follow up to that, making $1,000 per week consecutively for 1 month. 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by June 19th, because that would be my 1-year mark for on YouTube. 100,000 followers on TikTok by February 22nd. That would be my 1-year mark on TikTok. And 1,000 followers on Instagram, just because I feel like that's a good milestone to hit. And then last one, my first paid brand deal. Anything else for me before I shout myself out?
No.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at cookin.depot, cooking without the G, cookin.depot. And then on YouTube, it's just Cookin Depot. There's no dot. And then for my more personal lifestyle content on Instagram and TikTok, it's Mern, MERN, _.
All right, that does it for today's episode of the 3 Path Profits podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening and encourage you to leave any comments or questions to help us improve moving forward. We'll be posting episodes every Friday, so stay tuned and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episodes or important updates from us. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please tell a friend or family member you think would enjoy as well. And also, please be sure to check out our social media pages, TikTok and Instagram at 3.path.profits. We appreciate your support. We'll catch you next week.